Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and today we're checking out a Gibson 2009 SG Special in Faded Cherry. Let's take a look. Alright, so here it is. This is the 2009 Gibson SG Special in Faded Cherry. So this technically wasn't the Faded series. They came in gloss finishes as well in this same year. This was just technically considered one of the finishes, which is Faded Cherry. But for all intents and purposes, it is basically the Faded series. A lot of the specs are exactly the same. So I'm really starting to like these SG Special Faded series because you can get them with 50s rounded necks, which is kind of a hard to find spec on some SGs without going like custom shop. And I really like a thicker neck on an SG. I think it just, for me, it stays in tune better because when I'm chording on like a really thin neck SG, it actually pushes it out of tune for me just because I finger pretty hard on my chords. So a thicker neck really does help that a lot. And I've just been preferring thicker necks in general lately. So yeah, this one needs a little bit of work. It's in relatively clean shape, like not a lot of scratches and dings, although there are a few. But this one came with swap pickups, so I'm not even sure what kind of pickups are here. And it looks like two of the knobs have been blocked off. It looks like someone used these little plastic plugs here. So they got rid of a tone and a volume. I tried this out, it does work. So this is like a master tone and a master volume for all positions. But I want to put it back to stock. I prefer it like that. And the other thing is someone swapped out the tuners with Grovers. So I'm actually going to keep that like that. It looks like they didn't use any new screw holes or anything else like that. They just got rid of the plastic one and replaced it with the metal Grovers. So that's okay. That's actually an upgrade. Another cool thing I noticed on this guitar is it's actually a 4-piece body, which is something you don't really see on SGs a lot. So that could be a negative depending on how you look at it, but I think it's kind of unique. So you got one piece here, and then another thin piece here, another piece here, and then another piece there. So a 4-piece body. And alright, let's go ahead and get it on the bench and open it up, see what these pickups are, and then we'll set it up and plug it in and see how it sounds. Alright, so here it is on the bench. So having a look at these pickups, I suspect these are DiMarzios, just because they have the hexagonal adjustments on the slugs on the humbuckers. And I think DiMarzio is the only brand that does that. And then another thing I noticed is these plugs, it looks like these have been screwed out a little bit. Like these are larger holes than I think are regular for the shaft of the pots. So let's just double check that. And no, actually they're the same size as the normal pots. It just looks larger than I was expecting. This almost looks like the size of an output jack, but I guess that's just how big they are. So alright, so I've got some extra pots, so that's okay. We can go ahead and put 2 more of those in, no problem. Let's go ahead and confirm that these are DiMarzios. And so again, with these Batwing style SG pickguards, the bridge is actually mounted right to the pickguard, so you actually have to take off the bridge in order to get to your pickups. Alright, let's have a look at our pickups here. And yes, these are indeed DiMarzios. Okay, just to clarify, this is a vintage Super Distortion 100. It's the DP 100. And the neck is actually a DP 104, which is like a Super Distortion 2. It just takes the sound and slides up the EQ in favor of the high end, and it's got a lower reading here too. So that all makes sense. So this is a vintage DiMarzio set, the DP 100 and the DP 104. So it looks like this set can sell used for around $300, so that's cool. I can recoup some of the cost of my guitar selling those. And I do have a set of the original 490R, 490T set that would have came in a Gibson Special Faded, or even a Gibson Special at this era. And yeah, I pulled these out of my 2004 SG Special Faded, and then I put an older set of 57 Classics in that one. I just prefer the 57 Classics in this guitar, but I do like the 490R, 490T set, which is what I'm going to put back into this guitar to make it stock. So yeah, it's the same sort of era, so these are basically the same pickups that would have came stock on this guitar. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove the DiMarzios and wire in the original 490R, 490T set. So I decided to swap all the potentiometers just because they were using these super gigantic, huge shaft pots for some reason. And they just look goofy in there, and they were kind of taking up a lot of room. And I can use these for another project that actually requires this length of shaft. So I'm going to go ahead and replace them with these full-size pots. I've got two A500K potentiometers for the volume and two B500K for the tone. And I'm going to be using two of these ceramic disc capacitors. So all this is high quality components. Alright, here's a look at the completed wiring. So I use cloth wire, just like Gibson uses, and it came out pretty clean. So, and then I did check and everything's working. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put everything back together and give it a setup. While I was setting this thing up, I wanted to show one thing quickly. So the tuners on this guitar have been swapped from the vintage style, like green plastic button tuners, to these Grover, like kidney button metal tuners. And so yeah, when you do this, it's not a permanent modification. You can put it back to stock very easily. A lot of people don't understand that, but you can see here that you can still see the finish on the inside of the hole for the machine head. So that tells us there was no extra reaming done. So that's still the original factory size diameter. And it actually uses the original screw hole from the machine heads. So normally there would be that Clouson style tuner that sit there with two screws, but instead they're using this Grover one that just uses the one screw in the bottom that uses the same screw hole. So there's no additional screw holes here either. So it's very easy to put back to stock if you want to, but I would consider these Grovers an upgrade. They just they work a little better. And I really like the metal parts instead of the plastic. Alright, managed to get a nice setup on this guitar. So using our notch straight edge, you can see that there's very little space between the straight edge and the fingerboard. That means our truss rod is set nice and tight. And then here in the cowboy chord area, you can see when I press the 3rd fret that the string's just resting very nicely against that 1st fret. That tells us the neck is straight and the truss rod is tight, and we've got good action here. And that's also a well-cut nut. And then at the 12th fret, we can see our action at the low E at the 12th fret is just about a 1.25, and at the high E, it's about a 0.75. So yeah, very nice low action. Weighing it at a nice and light 6 pounds, 10.6 ounces, or 3.22 kilograms. Width at the nut is a 1.68 or a 42.8 millimeters. At the 12th fret, that's a 52.52 millimeters or a 2.06 inches. Neck depth at the 1st fret is a 0.81 or a 20.7 millimeters. And at the 12th fret, that is a 25.1 millimeters or a 0.98 inches. Here's a look at our neck profile. So it's a pretty standard C. It flattens out a tiny bit by the 12th, but stays fairly rounded. And yeah, it feels nice and chunky, like fills up your hand quite nicely. And yeah, it's like a nice 50s rounded C. And our restored 490R, 490T set are reading in the bridge position a 7.94, and in the neck position a 7.74, in the middle a 3.92. Alright, let's have a quick look at the condition. Our headstock is looking good. No major scratches or dings anywhere. And our truss rod is nice, no threads showing, lots of room for adjustment. This really does appear to be a bone nut, and it appears to be original because there's no, it's fit just perfectly, and there's still a little bit of finish on the sides there. And our fingerboard is just a really nice piece of rosewood, and our frets are super shiny. There's no nicks or divots anywhere. The frets are in really nice condition. And there's no fret sprout at all on this guitar. It's nice and smooth. And our body's in good condition. There are a few little nicks and dings. With these satin finishes, you can pretty much see any sort of wear mark or impression. But I think they relic really well. These satin finish SGs, they look really cool after a while. But yeah, this one has been used but not abused. It's still in really nice shape. And I put some speed knobs on this one, some notch speed knobs. I do have some original ones coming in the mail that will be included on this guitar. And then on the back, see our 4-piece body. And there is some little bit of buckle worming in the back, but nothing really bad. And just a couple small impressions here and there. There's a little bit of a larger one there. And there's a look at our neck. There are a few slight impressions in the neck, as you can see in the light there. But yeah, the neck feels great on this. I really love the 50s neck. And there's a look at our Grover replaced machine heads. Again, there's no new screws made for these tuners. You can actually put it back to stock original if you wanted without having to plug any holes or anything. And there's a look at our serial number. Dates this to 2009. Alright, I'm just going to go up and down the fingerboard here to make sure there's no buzzing or fretting out anywhere. I like to speed up this part, but if you want to hear it in real time, slow down your player to 25%. So yeah, very nice low action with no buzzing or fretting out anywhere, and no fret sprout at all on this guitar, and the neck feels really nice. That 50s rounded neck feels great. Alright, let's go ahead and plug it in and see how it sounds. Alright, I'm plugged into my 1965 Fender Bassman. Here are my settings, and I'm just going to go through each of the pickup positions, first clean and then with a little bit of dirt. And if you're wondering if this guitar has neck dive, it's pretty balanced. Yeah, I do love this pickup set that came stock on these models. I think they sound loads better than the 490, 498 set. This 490 set is just a lot more well balanced. And yeah, very articulate, great sound. I'm going to try it out with a little bit of overdrive. Alright, final thoughts on the Gibson 2009 SG Special in Faded Cherry. Yeah, I love these guitars, especially the ones that have the big 50s neck, because they're just rock and roll machines. I really love the pickup combination on the Specials, the 490s. I think they're a lot better than the 490, 498 set. They're just a lot more vintage sounding, and these pickups have the Elnico 2 magnets, very similar to like the Slash pickups. Actually, these are the pickups that inspired the Slash pickups. So yeah, they are great. And yeah, this guitar is just super lightweight and very comfortable to play. The fretwork is really, really nice on this guitar. Again, we got a really nice setup on here, and it plays great with low action and no fretting or buzzing out anywhere. And no fret sprout at all. So yeah, really nice to play with this beefier neck. And the pickups sound great. This is a 4-piece body, which is more than usual. So that kind of makes this one unique. And it's in really good shape. It's no major scratches or dings anywhere. There's a couple little marks here and there, but that's to be expected, especially on a satin finish. I was surprised to see it had a bone nut. I'm not sure if that's an actual spec for this year or if they just happened to put one on here, but it's definitely a bone nut. So yeah, that's really nice. The machine heads have been upgraded to Grovers. Again, not a permanent mod. You can always remove these and put it back to original if you want, because they don't have new screw holes. They utilize the old screw holes. And this guitar originally came to me with, you know, the Super Distortions, the DiMarzios. So I had a set of 490s that I plopped back in there. I basically had to rewire the whole thing. It has new pots, cloth wiring, ceramic disc capacitors like old Gibsons used to have. And right now it's got notch speed knobs on here. However, I do have some original knobs on order that will be sold with this guitar. If you're interested in this guitar, I'm going to have it for sale up on the Reverb page. And if you decide to take it, I think you're going to be pretty happy. It's a really, really nice SG. But thanks for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and I'll have more for you really soon. Thanks a lot.